That's good for me. Relax.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can't listen till you relax.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
See, this is so cool. These
That's
are all,
right on, bro.
yeah. These are all things that God is teaching us. You know, like, be still, my soul. You know, be still. You know, before the Red Sea was parted, the word was, be still and see the salvation of God.
Yes.
You know, don't get busy. Be still and see. That's awesome.
Hebrews says, enter the rest.
Yes.
Yes.
Entering this rest of Christ himself has been made into us wisdom, righteousness, sanctification, redemption. We can rest. He has been made all those things to me. You know, that whole thing. Receiving, responding. Okay, so let me move on to something else now. Now, what's one of the things, given this receive, respond way that should be about us, what is the one truth that really helps us experience the kingdom of heaven within the other realm? What is one of the truths that, or one of the ways that of thinking that is key? Let me say it that way. One of the ways of thinking, and it's this. Paul's writings and what Jesus taught about the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven were such that he was revealing something that is now. Present tense. See, present tense. The law always talked about what will be. If you do these things, you'll be righteous. If this happens, then this will happen. See, the law always spoke in terms of a goal. But the gospel speaks of that which is done. Key. The present tense. The present tense, the present moment. It's not that you are going to be righteous. You are righteous in Him. It's not that you're going to go to heaven one day. You are in heaven now, in the heavens now, in here. See, don't put it future. That's the key. If you put it future, then you rob yourself of the power of the moment in God. Time was created by God. Time will end when God says it's over. The book of Revelation says, and time shall be no more. Time is, He's outside of time. And what He is doing in the Spirit has nothing to do with time. It's not that you one day will be, it is you are. That kind of thinking is key to experiencing the kingdom of heaven now. Now. For now is, Paul says, is so key. In fact, Paul says, let's look at this real quick, and I want to look at this verse in Hebrews. I love this verse in Hebrews. And so you have to be good receivers to get the revelation of the now. Because it's a revelation. That's why he said, this is so cool. While you turn to Hebrews, that's why he said this in the Corinthian letter. Paul said, let me say this first. The veil from God's side has been rent. And the door has been opened from God's side. From man's side, there are still veils. There's still a veil in man's mind. Paul said in the Corinthian letter that those who have not entered in to this awesome kingdom of heaven in Christ, that a veil remains over the mind in the reading of the old covenant. This is the key. In the reading of it. Because in the reading of it, you have future tense and past tense. In the reading of it, a veil remains. See? As you read the words of Moses, if you don't have the revelation of Christ, it actually reinforces a veil, and you can't see what now is. And he, in Romans chapter 10, he took the words of Moses in Deuteronomy 30. Check this out, it's so cool. In Deuteronomy 30, Paul takes the words of Moses and re-quotes it in Romans 10. And he says, this is how Moses said it. This is how the righteousness by the law speaks. But the righteousness which is by faith does not speak like that. And he changed the words of Moses and changed it to a now is reality. In the reading of the Old Covenant, the veil remains if you do not know how to reinterpret it in light of Christ.
Okay.
See it? In other words, a verse that says, I study thy law all day, I meditate upon thy law all day. Reinterpret it, I study thy Son all day, for He is the fulfillment of all the law and all that God ever said. He is the final word. He is the Word within the Word. I behold your Son. I think of your Son day and night, see? Not a law that if you do, you will be, but a Son who says, you are in me. You are now in me. See? You see the difference?
Yes.
If you don't have that change, then it reinforces the veil over your mind in the reading of the Old Testament. Well, what did Paul quote from Deuteronomy 30? Moses was standing on the mountain of blessing and cursing to the nation of Israel. And he said to Israel, he said, you have received the law of God from Sinai. Do not say, in other words, you don't have any excuse, Israel. Do not say, who shall go to the heights, to the heavens, to get the law, so we'll know what we should do, and that we might do it. Moses said this, for you have the law. It is even in your mouth and in your minds, so do it. And do not say, who shall descend to the depths of the sea to find the law of God, the commandments, that we might keep them and do them. For you have it in your mouth and in your mind, in your heart. For I have given it to you. I have spoken it to you. Now it's in your minds that you might do it. Now that's what Israel heard. Moses saying, righteousness is a function of obedience to these commandments. Do not say you don't have the law. You have it. Don't say who's going to go up in the heavens and find it, or who's going to go to the depths of the earth and get it. You have it. Do it. Paul takes those words from Moses and says, but the righteousness which is by faith does not speak like that. For Paul, rewording Moses,
that's pretty good,
says, do not say, who shall ascend to the heavens and get what we need. And then Paul says, that is Christ, for He is the end of righteousness. He is the end of the law unto righteousness. For Christ has descended, he said. And do not say, who shall descend to the depths. That is, Paul says, to go get Christ. For Christ has ascended from the depths. For He is the end of the law unto righteousness. For the word is even in your mouth. Paul says the same thing Moses says. And in your heart, that if you believe, not do, but if you believe. For the righteousness comes in the heart through faith and confession unto salvation. Isn't that awesome?
Yes.
He takes the writings, the words of Moses, and changes it in light of Christ, and says it's not a matter of finding what the law is that you might do it. It's a matter of receiving the Christ that you might be in Him righteous. Isn't that awesome?
Yes.
In the reading of the Old Testament, the veil remains. God has removed the veil. But he who turns to the Spirit, Paul says in the Corinthians, for revelation, the Spirit will open, that veil shall be removed. And we shall see what you just heard. And the open door and Jacob's ladder will be awesome. Receiving, responding. And now here's that verse I want to read real quick. We'll wrap it up today. Hebrews. This is so cool. Check out Hebrews, please, chapter 12. Hebrews chapter 12. And I really encourage you to look up that yourself. Deuteronomy 30 are the words of Moses. Romans 10 is where Paul takes those words and changes them. Awesome. And then, of course, the Corinthian letter, I think it's 2 Corinthians chapter 4, where he says, in the reading of the Old Covenant, the veil remains. In the reading of it, he said it that way because in the synagogue, they would read the scriptures over and over and over again, but they would read them without any alteration, as if Christ never came, and so it reinforced the veil over their minds. You see? Okay, here we go. Here's Hebrews chapter 12, verse 18. And we'll wrap it up here. For you have not come unto the mount that might be